my God, this is so hard to do. Anyways, this is my journey to what is a survivor. There was a certain person on TikTok who triggered a lot of us who have issues and has made a mockery of what is abuse and what is a survivor and what is it to be a diva. That particular person, I don't feel like giving her any more credence to what she's doing because she's evil as far as I'm concerned. She took somebody's information and outed them, their whole childhood, all the trauma and the drama, and made a joke and a mockery of it on the interest of lessons, as she puts it. Well, I have a lesson for her. You shouldn't speak what you have no information about. You have no idea what it's like to be a survivor. You talk about having drama and trauma in your life, but yet everybody does it differently, and nobody needs a lesson from you. I promise you that. I promise you that. Nobody needs a lesson from you. Anyways, here's my journey. I was 4.5 when I was sexually assaulted. I was sent to an uncle's house. He was drunk. I have a huge issue with people who drink. I can smell alcohol a mile away on people. I don't have an issue if you drink. I have a problem if you're drunk and stupid. So anyways, long story short, I spent a lot of my childhood in a disassociative state. I didn't really know. I lost huge chunks of my life. I also had a brother who was 10 months and 5 days younger than me, or older than me. And he was torturing me all the time, calling me names, hitting me, just verbally and physically abusive. I don't think there was a day that I can remember that he didn't hit me until I got to be about 14 or 15, and I basically snapped and I just said, go ahead, hit me one more time and I'll cut your throat and I'll watch you bleed. And I won't even cry at your funeral. Swear to God I did. And he never hit me after that. I don't know if he saw the rage in my eyes. I'm not really sure. My rage scares me. It really does. Because when you do have anger towards a situation or your life, you do kind of repress it a little bit. My anger became anger at myself. I tried very hard because I thought all my life, if I would have screamed, if I would have done this, if I would have done that, I could have gotten away. He would have been caught. It's not true. But when I was going through my drama, I was in therapy, and my niece was about the same age as I was. So one day I asked her to hit me as hard as she could. And I realized then that I was rationalizing what happened to me as an adult and not as a child. I wanted to say I had tried everything, but I didn't. And when she slapped me, I realized that I couldn't have fought back somebody who was, I was probably 40 pounds at the time, and he was 180 or 190 pounds. I couldn't have pushed him off of me. I couldn't have done anything. And when someone has their hand over your mouth, you can't scream. But I took that and I carried it with me, and I was scared. I was frightened all the time. I had flashbacks and dreams and nightmares. Were just ridiculous. And so the way I coped was to be quiet because I was scared. I didn't want him to come back and do that again. And I built myself up to be a very heavy person. I weighed over 300 pounds at one time in my life. I did go to therapy. I was having terrible flashbacks and nightmares, terrible nightmares. And a friend of mine who I would say probably saved my life talked me into going to therapy. And I did. I went to group therapy, and I put a lot of the demons on the shelf. But you know what? Just because you have knowledge of something doesn't mean it goes away. Because when somebody is sexually abused, it's a life sentence. I hate to tell you guys that. Yes, you've dealt with it and you have forgiveness, but you still have those. It still affects you on some levels. As a woman, it's hard for me because if I'm with somebody and, sexually, my sexual partners, I have to say, hey, if I tell you to stop, you need to stop. This is part 2. So, anyways, I think I left off with, I dealt with my abuse the only way I knew how, and that was to eat myself through it. I tried to do all kinds of things to help myself. There's a lot of times in an abuser's life that when they're going through things, they disassociate. And when I say disassociate, that means they're not really in their body. They're someplace else. They go to their safe place in their head and they're just not there. I did that a lot. I still can do that to this day. I don't know if it's a survival technique or just coping mechanism. I'm not really sure. But if I can tell anybody anything, and if anybody gets anything out of this video series, is your time, your story, You are the only person that has the right to tell it. No one has the right to tell your story except you. And Jacqueline Holloway took that away from Cynthia. She outed her at the worst point out in public and then made a mockery of it. Her and Trisha sat there and laughed about it. It's not cool. Totally not cool. And if those are the kind of people that you want to follow, Jeep Therapy Kinfolk, have at it. I won't. I block them. And please block me. I don't want to have anything to do with Jeep Therapy Kinfolk. If you can pay homage to a leader who chastises people and ruins their life because they're jealous or hateful or whatever their problem is, I don't really care. I chose to do this series so that if I can help one person in our group deal with their abuse, then I've done my part. Because being a survivor, it's a daily challenge every day. Every day you wake up and you choose to be happy. Yes, it is a choice. I do choose to be happy. There are days when I have to struggle. There are days when I do have issues. There are days when I don't like my body or I am triggered by somebody touching me. I do deal with that. But I choose to live in happiness, and forgiveness is part of that. I forgive you, Jacqueline, for what you've done to everyone in our group, for all the nasty things that you've said, and I pray to God that you get some help and that you stop all of this BS, because it's just BS. You've gone after Slice, you've gone after Libby, you've gone after so many people. For what? What's your outcome? To give us lessons? You have no business giving anybody a lesson. The only lesson I could give you is sweep your own house before you sweep someone else's. Just saying. And I just want all of the good to come out of this is, yes, we can make it. We can make it as a survivor, and that, yes, it is a daily struggle and sometimes it is a choice. But my journey to healing was a long one. And sometimes, like any journey, you have a relapse or a flashback or something that triggers you. And you have to get it out. And you're mad for a little while. But you know what? As a survivor, you always end up on your feet. So, for all my divas, I love you bunches. Hang in there. For anyone who's struggling and you want to reach out, please feel free to. I'm on TikTok. I'm ER Lifesaver. Or you can get a hold of Rainbow on this YouTube app, and hopefully I would be happy to tell my story to you in person. I did send an email to Jacqueline just to ask her what her motive was and to tell my story, so she knows my story. I sent an email to her. I hope she gets a chance to read it and really absorbs some of what was said in there, because she has no idea what it's like to be a survivor. She knows how to be a wrecker, and that's easy to wreck somebody's life. But it's a choice to assist and help somebody. So God bless all of you guys. Take it easy. I love you all. And divas, hang in there. Straighten your crown, girls. We got this. And boys, thank you.